Welcome to Crushing Comics. I'm your host, Peter, and we have been here falling in love with my comic book collection for a few months now, but next week will be the last unwrapping video to help me get totally unpacked here in my new home of Wellington, New Zealand. Now, I've already shot that video, I already know what the book is, but that means I already know it's the end. I don't have any more books to unwrap after that. So many of you have brought up things that you would like me to try on this channel, things you'd be interested in doing, but I think there's no denying that we all here have a shared connection when it comes to the X-Men. That's partially because it's the reason why a lot of people originally found my website, Crushing Crisis, because it originally started with a guide to collecting X-Men and just kept mutating from there. Now, I know not all of you are big X-Men fans, and that's why this channel is not turned into an all X-Men channel. There's great other things going on, like our book club, which has been highlighting a lot of non-Marvel reads in it. There's also the indie series Spotlight. But I kept coming back to what could I do that would have all of the fun and randomness of this unpacking process that I've been going through, but that would also allow me to talk about comics that I really know and love, because that's been a lot of the fun of the unpacking for me. And it seems like maybe for you, that I've spoken about a lot of comic books that I really love and have fond memories around, not just about what's on the page, but about parts of my life and parts of what's been happening in comic history. So here's the announcement I have for you today. I am ready for the next 7 weeks to produce a 7-week pilot of what I'm thinking of, although not officially titling at this time, as the Epic X-Men reread. So it's for people that have read X-Men before and who have never read them before and just want to look for a place to jump in. Here's what it's not. We're not going to start with X-Men 1 from 1963 and read all the way forward. Why? Well, for a few reasons. First of all, that can be punishing. Silver Age comics are really hard to binge, and I'm afraid that we would be reading them forever. Two, there are other people who are doing a fantastic job of sequentially going through every X-Men comic book in order and commenting on them, and I'm not looking necessarily to compete with them. I want to enhance that. And then 3, I don't know if you'd all be interested in reading every single X-Men comic in order, and I like this ongoing conversation we have together, especially with so many of you who leave me comments. It's some of the most fun I have, looking at what you've written and replying. So the reason I'm calling it an epic reread is that it's inspired by X-Men epic collections, like this one, the newest one out, Mutant Genesis. The Marvel X-Men collections jump around. They're not just doing one series in order, but they have a sense of what order they go in, and they're being released sometimes based on what would tie in well with what's going on in the world of comics or movies at that given time. So that's the approach we're going to take. We're not going to read any one series sequentially. We are going to jump around in time and read a lot of different X-Men. It's possible that if we kept this up for hundreds and hundreds of episodes, that we would get to read all of X-Men, all of which is covered in an X-Men reading order guide on Crushing Crisis, which I've actually been beginning to revise and spruce up a little bit. So this will be a chance for me to dig into that too. So let me let you know, what are we reading? What am I proposing? Well, here's the 7 weeks of this pilot program, and hopefully enough of you watch, support, and love it that we can do even more. We're going to start out in the first week actually with content that's in this epic collection, but just 3 issues. We're going to read those famous 3 issues of Chris Claremont and Jim Lee relaunching the X-Men franchise in 1991, issues 1 through 3. Some of the top-selling comic books of all time, so probably the ones that most of you have some version of that you can access and read. I thought that that would be a good choice because it's very much kind of the midline of the X-Men franchise, and so it kind of gives us about half afterwards to read and about half previous to read. So that will be our week 1. That will be on, let's check the date there, March 19th. So this is always going to be on Mondays. Then for March 26th, we're going to do New Mutants issues 26, 27, and 28. They were recently reissued in trade, and they heavily feature Legion. It's actually his first appearance. So we're going to read the debut of Legion in time for the 2nd season of Legion on FX, a series that I greatly love, and I have never read those 3 issues before other than just skimming through them to work on my guides. Then on April 2nd, we're going to read something much newer. We're going to read X-Men Worlds Apart. It's a mini-series from the Utopia era that it kind of brings Storm back to the X-Men fold and shows a little bit of her connection with Black Panther. So if you haven't been aware of that, that will be a good chance to get a little educated. Then for the 4th week on April 9th, we are going to jump forward to the early 2000s and read Exiles 1 through 4. Of course, Marvel will have a new Exiles series debuting that week, so we're going to go back and take a look at how it began. Then on April 16th, we're going to read the first issue of my favorite comic book of all time, Excalibur. We're actually going to read the graphic novel Excalibur Excalibur, the sword is drawn. We're not going to go directly into the series, and that's been collected alongside the beginning of an Excalibur, including in their recent Epic collection. Then on April 23rd, we're going to start getting ready for the Deadpool movie. We're going to read Cable and Deadpool 1 through 6. So that was their team-up series that they got after their long ongoing 90 solo series. Both were canceled, and they went through a brief resurrection as Soldier X and Agent X, and then they got mashed together as Cable and Deadpool, and we're going to read the first 6 issues of that series. And then finally, for the final Monday in this sequence, for Monday, April 30th, we are going to read the issues that began it all. We're going to go back to 1963 and read the first 3 issues of X-Men. So it just so happens that the issues that I've picked in this range are all pretty widely reprinted. They've all been through at least 2 reprint formats. They also all are available digitally. They all are on Marvel Unlimited. I want to give you the chance to have a wide selection of ways to read. And you don't have to keep up with each one because they're not sequential. So if you really love one series, really hate another series, or have always wanted to find out about a certain series, this will be perfect for you because you can drop in whenever you'd like, and it's not going to be live. It'll be uploaded at my normal showtime, and so you will have the opportunity to read ahead, or you could wait for the episode to come on, look at what I have to say, and decide if you want to read or not. So I'm so excited to do this Epic X-Men reread with you. I hope you're excited too, and if you have nominations for the things that you're dying for us to reread in X-Men, I hope you leave them as comments on this or in comments on the videos upcoming, because there's no telling what order we're going to go in. Sometimes, like the Epic Collections, we might do a little bit of an ordered read to get through a really big arc. Other times we might just be randomly picking out of a hat. I might even ask you to pick random numbers, which then I will correspond to the X-Men reading order and see what you've selected. So I'm really excited to give this a try. I hope you're excited too. Please tune in on Monday as we read the famous X-Men 1991 1 through 3, which was recently collected here in X-Men Mutant Genesis. It's also in, where are we on the shelf? X-Men by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, Volume 2, just off screen there. So thank you so much for watching Crushing Comics, and thank you so much for inspiring me to come up with this new video series. I'll see you on Monday.